What up, YouTube? This is JRJuggernaut1, and here's one more video. This is actually going to be my last video for the next week. I forgot to mention last video. I'm going to Florida tomorrow, so I'm going to be gone for the next week. Not going to have access to my camera. So, yeah, sorry about that, but I'm taking a break from Yu-Gi-Oh! For basically the next week, week and a half. Um, I was going to say, oh yeah, but yeah, so here's some of the changes I was discussing with my deck and just kind of the thoughts I have on it. And it's not so much specifically with this deck, but other decks in general. I just want to share my thoughts on what I've learned with fixing a deck. So, okay, here you go. Now, I'll show you my monster lineup and everything. So we got one Dark Armed, two Chaos Sorcerers, two Kais, and two Debris Dragons. Two Raikos, two Lilas, one Card Trooper, one Sangan, two Dandelions, one Tragodia, two Dimensional Alchemists, two Battle Faders. Oh, and remember, this is sort of supposed to be a Thunder King Ryo. And finally, we have Global, Plague Spare Zombie, Effect Veiler, and Black Miguel Whirlwind. So, from the way I've organized this, the bottom row here is basically kind of miscellaneous stuff. The middle row is everything that is like the part of the milling engine. Sangan's in there because it searches for Raiko and Trooper, so it's like another milling monster. And the big guys up here are your boss monsters, or how I like to think about it, the monsters that won't really work unless you have cards milled to the graveyard. Kai's is kind of an exception, but you're going to create a lot of field presence through the milling, so I kind of put him in this category. Um, so yeah, basically, from the regionals, this is kind of what I gathered with some of the, last but not least, these are your tuners that are only going to work when you have a field presence. One thing I really learned from this deck is that the main problem is, or I guess the losing condition, is if you don't have any way of milling monsters to the grave, you're in pretty big trouble. You need to be able to draw at least one card so you can like mill at least some cards to the graveyard. You don't need to mill a lot at once. You just need to be milling a fair amount. And yeah, it works. However, the problem is that you have only 6 cards that can basically build for you. Technically 5, technically 5 monsters and Charged Life Brigade, but yeah, you get the idea. So I was thinking about cards that are either going to I want to add in cards somehow that will accelerate the milling process, or they'll be good on their own with or without it. And one card that came to my attention was that something I was thinking about was Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon is really good because it's basically an extra summon. You can get it out pretty easily. Not to mention, it works really well with if you have a tuner in hand like Global and Plague Spreader Zombie, and you want to get into the grave immediately. It's a very good card. And that's another part of the problem. I also kind of want to have a card that allows me to get Global, Plague Spreader Zombie, lets me get them directly from my hand to the grave. It's not something necessary, but it definitely helps. The good thing about this is drawing them isn't terrible because you can just summon them and use them with the cards you already have on the field. So it does work to some degree. But yeah, I prefer to have them in the grave, obviously. But as I said, I want to add in some cards. So now the question becomes, what should I take out? Well, there are 4 cards I kind of want to take out. These 4. And maybe I won't take them, but I want to explain my current thoughts. Battle Faders are helpful, but there isn't really much you can do with it. I feel like Battle Faders are maybe not only good in a Monarch deck, but they seem to work way better in a Monarch deck, because in a Monarch deck, you're very likely going to be able to tribute off the Battle Fader next turn. In this deck, the Battle Fader is almost dead weight, because you basically are either going to tribute it for Caius, or you're going to tribute it, you're going to sync it up with Blackwing Gale, the Whirlwind, Global, or Effect Veiler, or you're just going to tribute off for even enemy controller. I don't know. But that kind of seems silly considering you'd only be doing it so you could use your opponent's face-up monster and sync it with one of your tuners or sack it off for Caius. I don't know. That's one way of looking at it. but it seems like these cards are not like very necessary because they just act like a defense and they don't really help the deck move forward. The Dimensional Alchemist's kind of the same thing, but more importantly, if you take out the Battle Faders, Dimensional Alchemist doesn't becomes, you know, much worse in this deck, because then your only real way of removal besides Plague Spreader Zombie is Chaos Sorcerer, and it just doesn't seem worth it because you're going to have it in there if you're going to be removing a lot less monsters. Plus, the other thing I realized, he really clashes with the whole recycling aspect of the deck. I mean, you basically are trying to recycle everything back in, and to intentionally remove things so to take them back, you know, just to take them back with Dimensional Alchemist, it's, well, kind of silly in a way. Regardless, it's still a good card. I just think, you know, take these guys out, maybe throw in 2 Cyber Dragons and 2 more Lightsworn monsters. That's what I'm thinking. Not totally sure yet. You guys can tell me what you think. But I think if I maybe throw in 2 more Lightsworn monsters and 2 Cyber Dragons, it can make a really big difference. Just because it allows the deck to be faster, it allows it to be more aggressive, it allows it to accelerate the milling process, which is very important with this deck, obviously. You know, just tell me what you guys think. I'm gonna be checking you know, comments on this video. Just let me know what you guys think, or not, whatever. It's fine by me. But I'm gonna take all opinions into consideration. Just, you know, I'm just hoping I can whip something up for regionals, and you know, something that'll be much better than the current build, because I don't know, I just really trying to figure out what this deck is missing, or, you know, how I'm gonna make it the best it can be. Whatever, though. I better go because it's getting late and I'm gonna go to bed soon. But hope you guys enjoyed this. Tell me what you guys think, and peace.